Hello again. I'm sure that many of us used to read the Beano as children and remember the Bash Street Kids with particular fondness. They look much the same now as they did when first they appeared in 1954, but the creative director for Beano, a fellow called Mike Sterling, says that they must change because they are completely anachronistic. Specifically, they are all white. Well, of course, it is true that they are dated and anachronistic, but I don't think it's just because they're white. Two of the boys wear school caps. When did you last see a schoolboy wearing a cap? Then, too, all the boys wear short trousers and the teacher has a mortarboard and gown. I remember teachers with mortarboards when I was at school, but I'll warrant it's fairly rare these days. The fact that the whole setup is quaint and old-fashioned is part of the charm of the Bash Street Kids. Anyway, the new version may be seen in the thumbnail to this video, and it will be seen that 5 pupils with darker skins have now been added to the usual characters. The people who masterminded this updated version are a company called Inclusive Minds, and they are the same outfit who revised the Roald Dahl children's book recently to remove any offensive language. In the same spirit, they have advised that Fatty and the Bash Street Kid should be renamed Freddy, and Spotty should now become Scotty. The reason for these changes is that fat and spotty kids sometimes get bullied, and so by altering the names which draw attention to these physical characteristics, they hope to reduce bullying in real life. I'm bound to say this sounds completely nuts to me. I seriously doubt if seeing Fatty in the Bash Street Kids leads to bullying. Something which is very noticeable is that the percentage of children in the Bash Street Kids now who do not have the same white skins as Fatty, Spotty, and the others is 40% of the total. There are 8 white children and 5 whose complexions are darker. The actual percentage of white people in Britain is 80%, so the proportion of non-white characters is twice that in the general population. But then that's pretty much par for the course these days. The numbers and percentages of ethnic minorities is always exaggerated in films, advertisements, and on television. So why would comics be any exception? I suppose that it doesn't occur to those producing the comic that much of the attraction of the Bash Street Kids is that the whole thing took place in a timeless alternative universe where caretakers still wore uniforms and teachers had canes. It was a fantasy world. By bringing it up to date, I strongly suspect they would have delivered a mortal blow to this comic strip.